The heck?
Welcome everyone to Amir Shakur Speak Show with your host Amir Shakur. That'll be me, and just wanted to just welcome everyone who's watching. And today we're opening up this show on a kind of like a sad note, I would say. Just a lot of things going on in the community, a lot of things going on a national level, and we just want to just take a little bit of time to talk about some of these things, be able to break it down in the most realest sense. So for me, this person who I'm going to introduce, my guest host, I've known for better part of 10 years, and we've been she's been on the front lines, we've been on the front lines, and we are talking about Chicago girls missing, and that feeds back into the aspect of just women missing overall. It's an issue, definitely an issue that we have to be able to address, and to be able to look at in a real sense what it is. So let's talk a little bit about it. But before we begin, the show is sponsored by Black America World News, the Chicago Urban Daily, and Amir Shakur Speaks Broadcast Network. Again, our appeal today is about Chicago girls missing, and I'm gonna bring on our guest host and really to be able to talk about the Chicago girls missing. It's a very intricate subject. But before we do, y'all know how we do. I'd like to welcome everybody. I'd like to welcome our guests in the chat room, and y'all know how we do. If you got a question, please go ahead and like it, drop it in the chat. We are this is a family show here, and we're definitely about family. So, FBI statistics. Let's do our sweep. FBI statistics from 2023 showed 53,725 women are reported missing, representing 19.7% of all missing women uh, in that year. Don't really have ongoing stats from 2024, 2025, since we are in the current calendar year, but a disproportionate amount. I'm going to say that again. A disproportionate number of missing Black, Indigenous, and people of color and girls compared to the population percentage. For an example, in 2020, Black women or girls accounted for over a third of 270,000 missing women. They're less than 15% of the US population, but the amount of women who are missing statistics outweighs the population statistics. Some of the statistics come from the FBI, I should say, and just to be clear, in 2023, the FBI's total crime information came from the FBI's National Crime Information Center. It's called the NCIC. You guys can look it up, but it's definitely something to study. Recorded, the NCIC, by the way, studied and recorded missing 53,000, almost 56, 50, between 53 to 56 women who were missing, according to the database. That's 19.7% of the total missing population in cases that year. It's definitely a sad, tragic case. I've been on the front lines myself, and my special guest, Staci Love, and she is the moderator of Chicago Girls Missing. All right, so we want to give her a welcome. And before we do that, again, I'd like to welcome everybody in the chat. It's crazy, Beth McBride, a lot of folks who are just listening in right now. We just want to say hello to you guys, and feel free to share your questions. Let's bring on my guest here, and definitely we'll roll with it from there. And you know, definitely something that again, it's a very sensitive subject. So please feel free to jump in, ask questions, and time to get it. Let's go.
Yes, Staci Love. I'm the founder of Chicago Girls Missing. I started this group,
Okay, hold on,
and
Stacey. I think I see the top of your head. I don't see your face at all.
I see my face.
I don't see
Okay,
your face.
okay. Is that better? Okay,
There it is. There
okay,
you go. All right, better. I think you kind of need the angle and center it up just a little bit. Oh, see
okay.
that?
There you
See that? Beautiful
go. Okay,
smile. Okay, thank you. All right,
okay.
go right ahead.
Okay, so I started Chicago Girls Missing back in August of 2018
Mhm.
because it was a lot of Black girls going missing in Chicago, and the police was not taking it seriously at all, and still really aren't. Um, so far, my organization has helped bring 5 girls home. I can't really name them because they're still considered minors to this day. Um, I do want to focus on the Ebony Alert Law. Have you ever heard of that,
Yeah,
Bishop?
no, we can definitely talk a little bit about that. Oh, by the way, since I last saw you, I'm no longer the bishop, but I became the bishop again. And it used to be Bishop Greg L. Greer, but now it's
Mm-hmm.
Amir Shakur. But you remember me as Bishop Greg L. Greer, so yeah, I blast from the past. Go
Right. So let me
right ahead. Go right ahead.
announce it straight because you're a whole different other person now. Amir
Hmm. Feel free.
So the Ebony Alert law was created a statewide emergency notification system in California. We don't have this in Chicago yet, so I really want to push this for missing Black youth and young women ages 12 to 25 years old who are considered missing under suspicious or unexplained circumstances or are at risk due to a disability or a ooh, hold on.
It's okay. Go right ahead. You know, it's live,
Okay.
and we're
Yeah.
we're streaming
Sorry
on
about
multiple channels, so don't worry about it. We're good. The dogs,
okay.
your dogs just want to do their national debut. That's all.
All right. They looking. They out there looking.
Okay.
So it was created kind of like how the Amber Alert is, but
Hmm.
this one is called the Ebony Alert, and it's specifically for Black people that's gone missing between the ages of 12 to 25 that they consider they can be in dangerous or potential sex trafficking or have a disability or anything like that, any type of suspicious circumstances.
Hmm.
But it's only in the state of California. It was signed into law January 1st of last year, January 1st, 2024. And I really want to push this for Chicago. Right now, California is the only state that has it. And I really, really want to push this. So basically, if a Black girl goes missing, they do everything for the Amber Alert. They put it on a billboard. You'll get a notification on your phone. Um, they notify the state patrol, things of that nature. And I think that's what really helped in Chicago. I really do. I really do. And I really want to push this, but I can't do it alone. Can't do it
Right,
alone.
right, and that's why you're here. You know, that's why
Hmm.
you're here. You know, you're talking, and you look great, by the way. I just wanted to, share.
Thank you. You do too.
So let's do something here. I just want to bring a little bit of background and context to what the issue is. So I want to share I just want to share a video from, 10 years ago when we started. You know, the mission was a little bit newer for us, and I'll give you a chance to kind of get the guys over there together. Hello, 1 second. I'm gonna share this video. Give me 1 second, and then let's talk a little bit more about it. So.
South Side about dozens of women who've gone missing.
Activists and family members say those disappearances are not receiving enough attention from police or the public. Jen's Mike Lowe live in the Bronzeville neighborhood where groups are holding a march to draw attention to that issue. Mike?
And good afternoon to you both, Ben and Micah. You can see here on the corner of 35th and King Drive, a number of activists have already gathered. They're planning to march about 16 blocks to Dyett High School, all in an effort to bring attention to what they say is an issue that is not receiving enough attention. They say dozens of women have gone missing or have been murdered, and they are from the south and west sides of the city.
I feel like they wasn't really getting as much justice as they should be.
13-year-old Sonetrica Williams is a 7th grader who helped organize the march to recognize the missing, partially because she fears she may be a victim someday.
I feel like every time a Black person goes missing, they're study on their case for at least a week or 3 more days, and they just forget about it and become a cold case.
It's been a particularly egregious issue.
Bishop Greg Greer has been one of Chicago's leading voices to bring attention to what he says is an outrageous problem that is being overlooked. More than 50 unsolved cases of missing women, such as Kiara Coles, Shantae Bryla, Shantaya Smith, and Rio Renee Holyfield. He says the unsolved cases involving mostly Black women show racial and geographic disparities in the justice system.
We believe that, we're not seeing the level of service. Geographic is a huge issue. You wouldn't see it in Lincoln Park or downtown. I don't believe, and we don't see it. The stats prove it.
Earlier this month,
is there a serial killer?
U.S. Representative Bobby Rush held a community forum to address concerns that a serial killer or kidnapper may be responsible for a spate of similar strangulation deaths and disappearances. The police have cautioned that it's important to separate fears from facts and say each case is investigated individually until there's solid evidence to believe it might be connected to another case. But the issue has unnerved many women living on the south and west sides, and Greg says the longer the cases go unsolved, the bolder the criminals will become.
If these cases are not being resolved, there's no answers, then that gives the criminals and the bad guys a green light to continue on it, maybe even motivates them to push harder.
And tonight, the Chicago police have released this written statement saying, "We are conducting a comprehensive review of these cases. Detectives conducting this review are also detached as federal agents with the FBI."
All right. Let's hold on one second. Just sorry about that. I just wanted to share that blast from the past, Stacy, because that was our mission, and it's still our mission today. And the reason why we're talking about the disparity is because the disproportionate amount of women who are missing in some of the communities are happening in poor, impoverished communities, South Side, West Side. Gary, Indiana, if you want to extend it that far. And you don't see it in some of the more affluent communities, Beverly Hills, Illinois, or Lincoln Park, or you can just think of some of the other communities. So there is a disproportionate amount of issues happening in some of these low level income minority communities, and that's why even the report then is still going on. And just to give context to the people who are listening, at that point, and we believe that a lot of the issue was happening. A lot of these Chicago at that point, that was 10 years ago, had about 75 missing women. And not only were they missing, there were multiple missing women, but there was a situation, and you can attest that. I'm going to let you speak to it, to whereas we were even investigating a serial killer who could have been on the loose and probably was on the loose. We even went to a lot of the areas. These women were found, they were strangled, their bodies were burnt, they were a lot of them were clothes disclosed, with a lot of the reports. I mean, a lot of the same modus operandi, and they were found in dumpsters. And I can remember you and I and a couple of more individuals on the ground, Pewsley, and we really spent time investigating this. Do you remember those? Do you remember that?
Yes, I can still smell like that burnt smell when we were that time in the alley in Dalton
Mhm.
shortly after.
It was the Cartwright case. Uh, I'll have to pull up her name, but go right ahead. Go right ahead, Stacy. Stacy.
I'm coming. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I can't see your face.
Can you see me now?
A little bit. I would.
Okay.
All
Okay,
right.
that just gonna have to do because I just had to step out. The dog's just going crazy. Yeah, I still can smell like the burnt smell. Like, oh my god, that was horrible. And they said her boyfriend had did that, but the way her body was found, she had a lot of similarities to the other women that had been dated all the way back to the 90s had been found missing and dead, like with the strangulation, the burnt bodies. Like she had a lot of similarities,
Mhm.
but um her loved ones was saying something about they think her boyfriend did it. It was never confirmed if he did it or not.
Right.
Did you hear anything else about that case?
To be honest with you, that case and so many of the other cases were just tragic, and they're still unresolved. It's the sensationalism of this, and for lack of a better use of the word, is that we're talking about cases of folks who could be your mother, your auntie, your child, and these women are being murdered, The missing aspect of it is just a whole nother derivative of it, and we're going to break that down a little bit too, because we even looked at some of those examples of
Mhm.
missing. One of the newer cases had was the Bradley. Well, not even newer, but I believe this one was even preceded us. Two young girls, the Bradley sisters, and they disappeared 24 years ago. I want to show a little bit about that. Let me just show a little bit about that, and then we can really
Okay.
get back into
I'm
this.
I'm gonna have to play games with this mute button because clearly you hear my dogs.
No. Don't worry
So
about it. Nobody hears it. But if it does get a little bit, I can also editorialize it. So it's don't
yeah,
worry
because
about
I
it.
was gonna say just unmute me. I was just gonna unmute it when I talk.
Oh yeah, you're fine right
That makes
now.
it
Don't worry
easier.
about it. Don't
Okay.
worry about it. I just want to see
Okay.
your face. You know that beautiful face of
Okay.
yours. You gotta
Okay.
center that off for us.
Okay.
Okay. Let me
All
share
right.
this. Let me share this report from the Bradley sisters who disappeared from the South Side 24 years ago.
Today marks 24 years since the Bradley sisters disappeared. Diamond was 3 and Tianda was 10 when they went missing from their Bronzeville apartment. Their family is holding a vigil right now at the Dan Ryan Forest Woods. They still hold out hope that someone will come forward with information on what happened to the girls. Today marks
Now,
24.
now the Bradley sisters situation. Let me see if I could find a more in-depth article or news about what happened with the Bradley sisters, because I think it's very warranted that we spend time. Maybe this one for us. I think that we really need to get this stuff the attention it deserves. Um, I'll get it. I'll come back. Let me see if when I find one, bear with me. So, folks in the chat and at home, we are in for a struggle. Stacy is joining us, of Chicago Girls Missing, and she and I have been on the ground with other conscious-minded folks, really to address this issue. And the cavalry is not coming. I mean, I can remember, Stacy, and I like for you to speak about that. We even went to the FBI and we held protests outside of the FBI building in Chicago at a point in time when they were supposed to be addressing the issue, but they never really addressed the issue. And they said that they were. We were. I personally talked to Eddie Grant, or Eddie, the chief of police at one point, and that was three chiefs back. And Eddie was, he said the FBI was involved, and they weren't involved, but then they were. And I mean, it was just so much conflicting information. Do you? You remember those days? You remember that issue and how that came about? Can you speak a little bit about that as well?
Yes, I remember those days. As far as the Bradley sisters, I remember that day like it was yesterday. I was a little girl. I was around their age when it happened. I am around their age. I'm 37. And they're about the same age. And I just remember being on the south side of Chicago at my family home, and like that happening, and it didn't happen too far from us, and the whole neighborhood was just like on edge. And my grandma didn't even want me sitting on the porch or anything. It was just really scary because things like that, little black girl, they normally don't go missing like that.
Yeah,
It was a lot of rumors in the neighborhood, but they never came back up. And then just recently, I believe last year, it was a girl claiming to be them, but they took the test and turns out that it
yeah,
wasn't Diamond, because
yeah,
some girl was claiming to be Diamond. I
yeah,
guess she just wanted some clout on the internet as far as that. And as far as the FBI thing, oh yeah, we used to go out there and protest and just try to get them to listen to us, and they didn't. Like they'll just close the gate back up. Sometimes they'll call the cops, things of that nature. They really did not care about missing black youth at
right.
all, and I still feel like they don't. I do feel like a lot of the work we put in, like the news reporters now, I do see them making articles about missing kids going missing and things of that. But it basically is just an article. Nothing else is being done.
I want to be clear. First thing I want to talk, because that news article didn't really share a lot of the information, like about the Bradley sisters, and then we'll talk about the Chicago girls missing, because I think I think the work that we did had merit. But so without a doubt, the Bradley sisters, Tianda and Diamond, they were never found. They disappeared from their Chicago home in 2021, and that sparked one of the largest manhunts in Chicago history for these two little girls. But the case still remains a cold case with no substantial clues emerging. Well, a woman in Houston, like you said, she claimed to be Diamond. I believe it was Houston, Texas, right? And 2 years ago, but then they took a DNA, and the family was awaiting results, but the DNA wasn't proven. I believe it was. Hold on, there was no confirmation that the woman was in fact Diamond. So Tianda, if I'm pronouncing her name right, and Diamond were left alone in their Bronzeville, Chicago apartment, and that was by their mother, Tracy. And when Tracy returned from work, the girls were gone. The apartment was empty. So that manhunt again was one of the largest searches in Chicago history. And the police searched abandoned buildings, they searched
Hmm.
ways, but there was no substantial clues. So, um,
They did leave a note. Well, she claimed that they left a note that said they were going to the store. They'd be right back. And back then, during that time, that's how we communicated with our parents and stuff, through notes, because we didn't have phones and all of that stuff.
right,
So apparently, they said they were going to the store to get some food. And the rumors in the neighborhood was the store that they went to, the father, their real biological father, owned the store, and sometimes they would go there to get stuff to eat and things of that nature. He was like Arab or Pakistani in descent,
okay,
and yeah, and it's just so many conflicting stories with this. Some people believe that the dad took them back overseas. Some people believe that the mother sold them. Some people believe that the mother was way too calm. Uh, it was rumors about the mother's boyfriend as well. It's all over the place, but I'll never forget it, and I really hope that these girls are found.
yeah, yeah. So let me break it down and editorialize a little bit for folks who were just listening and joining in. If you've just joined the chat, we are talking about girls missing, and more specifically, Chicago girls missing. We're also talking about projects, the Chicago Girls Missing project that was done. We started that roughly about 10 years ago, and with a high level of cases of women who were being found in alleys and in apartments and empty garages and abandoned buildings, these bodies. And there was a similar trait. Stacy talked a little bit about it. A similar trait of the bodies that were burned. They were found in dumpsters. We visited a lot of the cases, a lot of the areas, myself, Stacy, and we definitely put research into trying to see how we could advocate for it. And we worked with the Chicago police, and when I say work, there wasn't really a lot of work, but we were pulling their pulling their chain to just try to get them to do something about this. So if you're just joining us, Stacy Love is my guest host today, and she's not shy. It's just that she's having a little bit of technical difficulty, so that's why her camera's kind of a little bit all over the place. But there you go. That's where we need it. Okay, here we go. So let's go to the chat a little bit, and we're gonna go back to some more video for context, Stacey. Okay, um, and so Javar Ellis, the Midwest Dragon, he's a friend of ours. Hey, Javar, peace. And who is this beautiful lady? See, there you go, there you go. All right, Beth McBride, welcome, 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 Beth. Um, Hi, Staci Love. So there you go, Stacy. People were looking
Hey.
at, hey y'all, it's crazy, crazy.
Yeah, I'm sorry about the I'm not used to the live stream thingy. I'm really not.
Yeah, well, you're all over the place, including 20,000 people on. We if they don't see it at this point, they will see it. So just do what you do. You're not new to this. Want to talk a little bit about, and I think we addressed it. And Stacy, again, just to plug your organization, we'll plug it at the end. It's Chicago Girls Missing, and girls are spelled with a G. It's
No, it's
really
spelled with a Z at the end instead
what
of
is
an S.
Z? What is Z? Yes,
Yeah.
instead of an S. And
Hmm.
let's talk about a little bit. You explained a little bit, but why don't let's go into depth about some of the cases that you resolved. Some of the 5 cases. You don't have to share the names.
Okay. I'll go into depth with a couple of them. It was one minor. She had went missing back in, I want to say, 2019, and her aunt had contacted my organization, and I made flyers and things of that nature, and I got out in the neighborhood to dispense the flyers and stuff.
Right.
And upon doing that, we learned that a very prestigious gang in that area basically had her, and she was, with one of the guys in the gang, one of the young guys in the gang, and they didn't want to give her back. It was a really messed up, tough situation, but I was able to locate where she was, and we did have to get law enforcement involved. They didn't want to really do anything, so we kind of had to. Uh, well, I don't want to say what we had to do, but we were pretty much on our own getting her back, and we ended up getting her back that day. Um, Also, there was another girl who was dead. She was missing, but she was dead, and the hospital was trying to figure out who she belonged to. So I posted her in my group, and I was able to locate her family. She like, thank you so much. We've been looking for her, things of that nature. So we was able to bring her home. Well, locate her family. Um, the same thing for another person. She was a minor, and the morgue was looking for who she belonged to, and we actually located her by tattoo, and it turned out to be one of my best friend's daughter. So that was that was very traumatizing. That was very traumatizing. Rest in peace, Victoria. Her birthday just passed. Um, Her mother is still really affected by that. That was in 2021, and it happened on her birthday. She left with some friends, um, and they found her dead. It appeared to be some type of drug related issue or something, which we've never known her to do. So I do believe that whoever she left with, whoever she was with, drugged her, and her body couldn't take the drugs, and she passed away, and they left her there. I'm getting a little emotional talking about it, but
Yeah.
those are a couple of the cases where I have helped bring girls home.
Yeah, and we definitely appreciate and respect your advocacy, and that's what makes you uniquely you. And when we joined forces, it was because of the work that you had done many years ago, and we joined forces roughly about a decade ago. And I mean, I think that there's even been a lot of substantial cases even since then. So the consistency here, just for people who are listening, the consistency here is that the main consistency is that a lot of the missing, not just in Chicago, missing women, not just in Chicago, but around the country, are you know coming from geographics that you would that if someone went on the south side of Chicago or the west side of Chicago, these are challenged areas. These are roughly minority areas. These are areas where, not maybe the level of awareness is not high. I could probably say the same thing for, New York, or if you were in the Bronx or Harlem. You're seeing the disparity of these missing women and missing girls in a lot of these challenged areas. And why do you think that is, Stacy? What gives with that? Why do you think that there's a disparity in the affluent, not in the affluent communities, but rather in the minority communities, the urban communities? And why doesn't it happen in Lincoln Park and some of the richer downtown areas, or some of our richer metropolitan areas?
But one thing I have gotten is like, when you do, for one, you have to wait 24 hours just to file a missing person report. And that first 24 hours is very crucial when someone is missing. So I don't understand why they don't take it seriously.
Right.
Um, they try to label us black girls or young black women going missing as runaways. Like, oh, they just gone out, they'll be back kind of thing. They don't take it serious at all. One time when we did find a young lady, we called the police to let them know or whatever. They didn't even come out, do nothing. They just said call the family. Like, they just do not care. So they do not take it serious is the main issue. That's the main issue. They do not take it serious. Once they have somewhat slightly took it serious, by then it's too late.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. And can you suggest that, we want to make sure that there is a known, not just geographic but demographic when it comes to this, and it's not a racial thing. It's actually the reality of what it is. Whereas
Mhm.
according to the National Crime Information Center, the NCIC, again, nearly 40% of those who have disappeared are often black. But however, many are alleging that the media only focuses on other women, other communities, and who disappeared, and that's a shame as well. Whereas the missing women's foundation is, even like the NAACP and some of the watchdog organizations have shown that, the high percentage of reported missing folks, women more specifically, is what we're focusing on in the United States, probably to the tune of maybe about 700,000, are for all races. But they also report that most women disappear in the states of New York, Georgia, North Carolina, Maryland, and Florida. When
Yeah.
we, when we
Urban areas.
in urban areas as well.
Mhm.
And whereas the families, and here's the thing: what happens in the hood, what happens in the urban community? Well, there's a lot going on, there's challenges, people are not really paying attention because of some of the drift, some of the urban drift. It's just so much going on. And when these situations happen, I mean, let's talk about some of the areas, because I know you remember us going to some of these areas. So one of the areas that we went to, in one of the cases, and I'm going to name the case, and unfortunately it was roughly 10 years ago, and I should be, I definitely have my notes, but I'm basically starting from scratch here with today's with our stream today. So having to just wing it a little bit. But I know that a lot of the areas were high transit areas. We went amongst the University of Chicago. I don't know if you remember that, when we were in. It wasn't.
Riverdale.
It was Riverdale. Well, that was the one of the last ones, and that young lady was in. That young lady who was murdered. That was actually murdered. It wasn't
Rachel. Her name, yeah, she was murdered. Her name, well, I know her first name was Rachel.
Rachel Cartwell, I believe, but
I
we'll
think
get
so.
that. And with Rachel, that went unsolved. At least the last time I checked, and her body was found burning in a dumpster, and the police. I mean, there was very, very little coverage of her situation, and which is tragic. And that's the consistency that we see. Would you agree or not?
Yes, it was very tragic. Like you could still see like the burnt outlining of where her body was. You
Right.
can still literally smell it like in the I will never forget. I can smell it like right now. I will never forget that smell. You
Yeah.
can literally just smell it. And then the way she was found in the back of an alley by the train track, like a lot of other women had been found from the 90s to up until then. And then whoever did it, well, we don't know who did it, but as far as the serial killer, he took a break for a couple of years. So what I remember when we did our research, for at
Mm.
least like 2 or 3 of those years, wasn't no women coming up dead in that manner.
Right. Right.
So I believe that he had been maybe got locked up or something for
Well,
another crime.
yeah, yeah. So the consistency was is that we all it almost felt like, and I don't know if you remember we touched base, but it almost felt like the person who was actually committing these crimes was actually watching us because it stopped. It really went cold for a while, and I mean, I mean, literally, our news press went all around the world. We had BET, we had Yahoo News, we were literally for the period of 3 or 4 months really getting a lot of coverage because we were trying to press the Chicago police to do a better job with Chicago girls missing, at least from our areas. And I think that there, while we were doing it, it stopped in Chicago, but I don't know if you can remember there was a case. Then whoever was doing it went out to Gary, and then there was a body of a burnt one young lady found in Gary. So it started happening again the far out areas. Do you remember that?
I believe so, and I believe that was the minor. I believe she was a minor. I believe so.
Hmm.
A lot of these women were working women, per to say, um, and all of them were black,
Yeah.
and a lot of them were working women, like the ones found by the train tracks over by like what do they call that area? Like over by like 50 something.
Yeah, that was by the University of Chicago, and
Mhm.
and so we saw that it was a disparity with maybe transit areas, like say for instance, I was doing it, the perpetrator was actually following transit lines. That
Yeah, as far as trans, a
that
lot of
one of
those
the
women
cases
were found dead by the
was
they call it tracks. That's the street
a young
version.
lady.
And tracks is basically where the working woman goes on the street to find um a potential customer. So a lot of those women were found
Yeah,
near the tracks and on the
yeah.
tracks.
Yeah,
And maybe
well,
that's
and we're
because most
let's be
working women
specific.
have
Let's be
access.
specific so people will know. I'm sorry. Let me interject. When you say working women, some of these women who were found missing and murdered, the murdered ones were at least were involved in prostitution. But even then, I want to be
I hate
careful
that
to
word. I
say.
really do. It's just not that word is just not a part of my vocabulary.
Yeah, that's why I want to be careful to say it because I
Mhm.
don't want to use that term because not all of the women were prostitutes, or
Right.
street workers, if you want to use that term. Let's go look at a video about this. And do you remember the Carrie Cole's case? I don't think we ever advocated for that, but let's look at her
Oh,
case.
I have. It's still in my group to this day. I think about her all the time. That anniversary is coming up October 2nd. That um I don't want to say anniversary because it's not a celebration, but she's been missing since October 2nd, 2018. So that's coming up as
Okay,
well.
let's look at her case. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna pull her up.
With AI
Let
every day.
me take that down and hold on 1 second. Can you see the screen?
Postal Service worker who disappeared while pregnant 5 years ago is still hoping and praying for her return. Today would have been her 31st birthday.
Fox 32's Nate Rogers was there today where family and friends gathered for comfort and support while continuing to look for answers. Nate?
It's a story we've brought you now for nearly 5 years. A missing woman, a postal worker, pregnant at the time, and still no sign of her. We spoke to her mother today, who said she's even reluctant to call police now to check in because she continues to hear the same thing: no new information, even after a person of interest identified, also surveillance video. The mother says she has received no answers. On her 31st birthday, family members celebrating a woman who loved doing makeup, taking pictures, and dancing. She especially loved her job as a postal worker and was looking forward to being a mom.
As the years go on, it get harder and harder. Definitely with the police not doing what they supposed to do to me.
Kiera Cole was last seen October 2nd, 2018, near 83rd and King Drive. Detectives have obtained surveillance footage of Cole leaving her home with a person of interest before driving to a nearby ATM and making 2 cash withdrawals.
The next day, the person of interest is seen parking Kiera's vehicle near her residence before entering the building and exiting with unknown items. He then drives away in his personal vehicle that was parked on the block overnight.
5 years later, after a joint investigation between CPD and the U.S. Postal Inspection Service, no publicly named suspects and no arrests.
They said that they didn't have a motive.
At today's gathering, other mothers of missing children present, like LaShawn Walker, whose daughter and grandson vanished from Gary, Indiana, 8 years ago.
It's different when your loved one is put to rest, but we just continuously have to wonder whether they're still alive or not.
Also, Darian Albert's mom, the Finger High School honor roll student, beaten to death in 2009. Cole's mother, once again, begging, pleading for someone, anyone, to speak up.
Because if it was your child, your mother, your sister, your grandmother, you would be begging for the same help that I'm standing here begging for. You would be begging everybody for the same help. So I think if you know anything, I'm begging you to just call the police anonymous and leave a tip.
And it's certainly one of the largest cash rewards that we've reported on locally in terms of these types of cases. Nearly $70,000, $68,000 to be exact, for any information that leads to an arrest and conviction in this case. Of course, tips can be made anonymously. We also reached out to Chicago police to hear if they know anything more. They've told us no new information at this time. Reporting downtown, I'm Nate Rogers.
So with that, Staci, we are the challenge here, in really in retrospect, the challenge here is just so. I mean, it's almost like an uphill battle, with the disparity that we're seeing again. You know, these cases. 20, some of them 25 years old, so 25 years ago, some of them 10 years ago, some of them, I mean, it's just, it's just daunting.
Time moves so fast. So fast.
Yeah, let's go to the chat a little bit. And if you're just joining us, we're talking about, not only are we talking about Chicago girls missing, the emphasis is Chicago girls missing, and we're talking about urban communities, but we definitely want to emphasize just the tragedy of missing women all across the country. In urban areas is where we see these things happening. And my guest host today is Staci Love, Staci with an I, and Chicago girls with the Z at the end missing. Is she's the moderator of this social media group, but it's more than just a social media group, because her activism as a community activist has led to actually finding missing young ladies. So
Yeah.
let's go to some of the chat, Staci, and let's see what people are saying. Dave, hey Amir in chat, Dave Bryson. Hello, Dave, welcome. Predators do watch stories. Yeah, I mean, they do. I mean, we believe that there was a consistency when we were hitting our advocacy and really putting this information out there for that period of time. I believe it was, what was it, 2016, 2017, the summer.
2018.
Okay. And
2019, and then COVID just took over and everybody had.
We there was a stop, but I
Mm.
mean, and at that point, the reason why we were actively engaged is because you were seeing a lot of these bodies that were being found in abandoned buildings and alleyways, dumpsters, and a lot of these women were strangled. The Murder Accountability Project was a gentleman by the name of Thomas, and I'm going to show his information as well. He was a partner and still is a partner on the ground to try to find these unresolved murders. And remember, folks, these murders are a lot of them are unresolved. A lot of the women are still missing. So there's two parts of this. There's the missing, not found, and then there's the murdered and unresolved. And I mean, it's just a lot of tragedy in between.
Yeah. And I believe the missing and not, I'm sorry, the murdered and not found, uh we were at 52 girls at that time.
We were actually at 75. It was
Yeah.
there were because what happened was some of the missing or murdered women they couldn't even identify. So I believe it was 75. And there was also an issue, and I just want to remind you of that, and it's still ongoing that, because some of these women were street workers and that sort of thing, I mean, there was an issue of them being identified. So I mean, it's just a lot of problems when it comes to trying to
Yep.
find these women.
That hurt so much for them to put that label on a woman. I just hate it when they put that label. I
Yeah,
don't like the word. I don't, because it's like as soon as you use that word, it's like they don't deserve to be found, or they don't, deserve for their case to be looked into, or it's like,
yeah,
aha, well, they shouldn't have been out there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you got to do what you got to do sometimes. You never know when you might have to. Things change so quick. You might have to get out there and do something. You don't know what's going on, but that don't mean they deserve to be murdered, beat, raped. That does not mean that they are still human. They
yeah,
are still human.
yeah. And here's the thing. Let's go to these questions, and then I want to talk a little bit about Kara Coles. So my question from Beth is, the question is this: when a lady is missing, when is a lady missing? So I guess she's saying statistically. You may want to clarify the question for us and re-put it in the chat. But when is a lady considered missing? Well, basically, the law. Stacy talked a little bit about it, and that changed during the time frame of 10 years ago. You used to have to wait 48 hours for anyone who was declared a missing person, but the law changed to 24 hours, which was an advantage. But in that 24 hours, there's still a level of, it's still a problem. You want
Yeah,
to
in
know
those
that?
first couple of hours, it's still a problem. I feel like if anyone call and say, "Oh, my kid, my daughter is missing, or such and such is missing," you should not have to wait 24 hours. You should not be asked as an officer. You should not be asked, "Well, have they run away? Have they done this before? They done that before?" Because
Mhm,
you could run
mhm.
away and run into trouble. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, a lot of stuff happens out here, and those first couple of hours when you go missing are very crucial. And
Yeah.
if you don't get them, I believe I have to look at the statistics, but I think after the first 3 to 4 hours, if you haven't found them, 9 times out of 10, you're not gonna find them alive.
Hmm.
So that's really crucial. So that's why I want to push this Ebony Alert system for Illinois. I really do. I want to be boots on the ground with this. We need networking. We need our community to come out and fight for this, because this is going to be a statewide thing.
Hmm.
It'll be for the whole state of Illinois, not just Chicago.
Yeah. Let me share one more thing, and then I'm going to share your page, and then we're going to talk a little bit about, just give me, we just need about 15 more minutes because I think it's worth it. I wanted to talk a little bit about Kiera Coles, and I wanted to share the information. So, this is from the Aware Foundation's post on the social media. So at the time of her disappearance, now Kiera Coles, because we want to show that Kiera Coles was actually a postal worker. So this is not just happening to women who are street workers. It's happening across the board in urban communities, like we had said, and that's one of the myths that we want to dispel, because we want people to understand and protect themselves. So at the time of her disappearance, Kiera was 26 years old, and she was 3 months pregnant. That's one of the things. with her first child, and she was missing in 2018. I think that was kind of at that point we were focusing on projects, and I think I think it has slowed down with our the advocacy. And it wasn't just us; there were organizations, other structures who actually picked up the work. So back to Kara, the pregnant postal worker did not report to work that day, and which was out of character for her. Kara's car was located where she last parked it with all of her personal belongings inside, including her cell phone, packed lunch. And Kara has a tattoo of a heart on her right hand, one that says "Lucky Libra" on her back. So the reward I believe was 46 and change. Now they're up to like I believe almost $60,000 for anyone who has any information about Kiara Coles, the Chicago poster worker who was missing. Now, what part did you play in the situation with Kiara Coles?
I was most definitely boots on the ground. The first time, I did contact her family. But at the time, it was I did get to speak to her sisters. Did offer my help. I ran her missing girl flyers through my group. I also went out to post flyers. I did pop up.
What did you say that? What did you say? I'm sorry, Stacy. Stacy, I'm sorry. Your phone went mute. Stacy.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I did do boots on the ground. I went out there with the rest of the community to help find her and things of that nature. Every year around her anniversary, I like to repost her flyers. She's most definitely priority in my group. Um, her flyer is posted permanently in my group.
Mm,
I try to do everything I could. The family was it was so many different activists on it. So their trust issues was like, through the roof. So I can understand why they were kind of like hesitant upon that. But I did everything I could do, and I'm still doing for her and pushing for that awareness. I was able to look up some information about the person who allegedly did it. And some of the things I saw in their background was very concerning, such as the criminal justice class that they took, so they would know how to get rid of a body for sure. Um, Allegedly, he moved to down south somewhere.
hmm
He was questioned and let go. Um, I do
the
believe that
person who you believe was the perpetrator of this is what
Sierra Cole,
you, yeah.
which
Okay.
was the alleged um, father boyfriend kind of thing. It was kind of a love triangle thing going on.
Mm,
And I looked up him, and I also looked up the other girl, the other female, which name was Kiara as well. Looked
mm,
up her, and both of them took criminal justice classes actually. So that was like, you know. But he was never charged with that. Her body was never recovered.
mhm.
But I do believe he had something. I do believe he had something to do with that. I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
His parents are very prominent in the area. They're preachers and things of that nature. They still have their church to this day. So, yeah.
So, for the next 10 minutes, and we're gonna go ahead and give us 10 more minutes, Stacey, if you don't mind just hanging in. I just want to editorialize a little bit for the people who are just joining us. So, what's happening here is that Chicago girls missing, and then I like to extend our call. This is a call to action for women in urban communities. And there is a racial disparity. There's a geographic because it's happening in the urban communities. South side of Chicago, west side of Chicago. You don't see these things in Lincoln Park or
Oh,
downtown.
the furthest you'll see it north is Humble Park, but that's a poor neighborhood as well, like the west side and south side. So
Yeah, so the perpetrators, the predators, They literally are perpetrating young women in urban communities, and we saw that. We saw the geographic. We There was actually a track that we researched. We actually went to some of these areas. And when you break down the numbers by age, the Black and Missing Foundation reports that about 37% of missing are also minors, and we want to say that. The five young ladies that you found, were they minors, or how many? What was the breakdown of adults versus minors?
Four of them were minors. No, I'm sorry. Three of them were minors. Two of them was adults. The two that was adults, one of them was dead at the morgue, and they were looking for her family to identify her. And the other one, she was actually found at a rehab. She had went to rehab, which was great.
Mm.
So yeah, and her name was. She's a Henyard actually. She has relation to Tiffany Henyard. The old mayor of Dalton.
Oh, really? She was a
Oh
Hindu?
yeah, I know all the Henyards. Yeah, they
Mm,
originate on the west side.
okay.
They originate over there.
So she was a
So
part of that family.
yeah, she's a part of the family. Yep, but she's a Henyard, and she basically was just having a mental breakdown and drug addiction problems, and she checked herself in, and we were able to find that out. So that was good that she got herself some help and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So, let it be further resolved that, um, what's needed is we need people to really look at we need people to really look at these cases, take it seriously, and insist that media comes and covers these things regardless of race. We encourage the names to become permanent fixtures in social media. Let's learn these cases. Let's look at the missing and reports, and and hashtags and trending topics nationwide manhunts, and let's start looking at these things, because you might be the one to save somebody's lives. What do you say about that? What are some of the things that people can do to help and support the mission in the days ahead? And we can talk a little bit after that about your specific mission and my mission as well, and how we collaborate going forward. But what are some of the things, Stacy, that people can do in order to really help support?
Just pay attention. Just the little things like paying attention when you walking. If you see a girl like walking with her headphones, not paying attention, and you might see a guy looking at her, you might want to tell her to put her head up, or try to make sure that she's okay. Kind of watch the guy, or just sharing a flyer alone that helped bring a girl home, because the flyer was in my group,
Mm,
and a person that was in my group, like, I know her family, and she was able to get her body identified. You know
yeah,
what I mean? They
yeah,
had been looking for her for years.
yeah.
Just share, even if you can't be boots on the ground. Share, share, share. Remember, don't just press the share button. Try to remember the face that you see. If your loved ones do come up missing, and it's to the point where you have to make the missing persons flyer or something, don't use those pictures where they went on prom and things like that. Use something that they look like every day. I don't care if it looks toe up.
Mm,
Everybody don't get all glammed up every day, but you want something. You want a picture that how she looks every day versus how she looks a couple of times a year. You know what I mean? You want it to be like really, really real. You know what
mm,
I mean?
mm,
So things like that, just sharing and staying aware and just looking out for each other, and trying to force the police to do something about this, because it can't just take me just and our two voices alone doing it. You have to come together as a community and demand, hey, we're not doing this. We paying y'all out of our tax money. Our missing girls matters too. Y'all using our tax money to find who y'all want to find, but y'all leaving us down here in the dirt
yeah.
to handle things by ourselves. And
Mm,
then if we have to handle it the street way, then here you want to come and arrest us. But it didn't have to get to that point if you would have just listened in the first place. If you'd have did your job in the first place. If you'd have took this seriously in the first place, it does not have to get to that.
yeah. And just a couple of closing statements. I can remember us going to the FBI headquarters. I talked a little bit about that. We were doing protests because Eddie Johnson, who was the police chief at that point when we were really actively engaged, was saying that the police were and the FBI were involved and that the police were involved. But we found that that wasn't the case. So we were literally challenging, that summer, those 2 years, 2016, 17, 18, 2 to 3 years. I mean, we were literally challenging the police. We also challenged Lori Lightfoot to do things about what was happening. And, again, the cavalry just didn't show up. So we took it to the national media. And that's when you start seeing a lot of engagement. And literally, we feel like we were making a difference when you say,
Yes,
because
we was.
we saw a decline in these murders for that time period because
Mhm.
it was almost like the serial killer was watching, and we believe it was a serial killer
Most
um,
likely.
because you saw the consistencies, right? You remember, and just one last time, tell the people, Stacy, what those consistencies were. I know we said it, but it's just helpful to say it again.
Okay, the consistencies were the areas that we were finding them in,
Hmm.
such as by the train tracks. A lot of the women's were being found by the train tracks.
Urban areas,
Yeah,
drug
in urban
line, so
areas.
on.
The
Mhm.
type of women they would pick. A lot of the women were what I call working girls.
Street workers, yeah.
Yeah. Um, the area that they were found in.
Hmm.
The burning bodies. A lot of them, because he was like he was burning the bodies to where you
Yeah,
couldn't recognize them, like burning all
you couldn't
the
find
the evidence.
it was a way of, I'm sorry, it was a way that it almost seemed like a way in the Murder County Project, a gentleman by the name of Thomas from Detroit. Some of the data was coming from him, but we found that, yeah, the women were strangled and almost like the person was trying to have the evidence. I'm sorry, go right ahead. Go ahead and finish. I apologize.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
No, I mean, I honestly, back alleys, abandoned buildings, dumpsters. Like the Rachel case out in Riverdale. I mean, sad,
Mhm.
sad, tragic.
Track.
So
They were finding them on track.
yeah,
Like
yeah, the
women that
track.
do that, they may go like in the back of an alley to get it done or whatever. So he probably was, they do it in a secluded area in the car most times. So he was getting them in a secluded area, which was mostly by train tracks. Places where people are not actively out there all the time. So alleys, like you're not really going in an alley unless you're emptying your garbage. Places like that.
Hmm.
Um, just that alone, location alone, just like how are you not saying that it's a possible serial killer? Like, how are you not doing it? And all these women's body are being found the same way. If this was a white girl, the case would have been solved. It wouldn't have been going on for this long.
Well,
You know?
and like for me, I really like to even say that, the urban communities, because there's even like some of the Latino community, the Latino and Hispanic community, they won't report to the police because some of them are illegal. So I mean, there's a lot of predators out there, and they're penalizing, and they're really being predators in these communities, and so they have a hard way to go, and that's for sure. So let's go to some chats, and then we're gonna go ahead and end the show. But what I want you to think about right now is, Stacy, I just want you to think about maybe two things of advice for a family who's lost a loved one or a loved one is missing from your experience. But let's go to and you can do that after we just pull up these last two questions in chat. Give me one second. I think 4 hours is when to start searching for someone missing. Listen, you don't even have to wait 4 hours. You can start right away, because that's when you have to start. Don't wait. Don't give it any time frame.
Right.
Legally, what do you say, Stacy?
You know your loved ones. You know your loved ones. My loved one didn't run away. Even if they did run away, you know that they're gonna be in danger. So you don't wait for nothing. You don't wait not 1 second. You don't even wait 10 minutes. You get it. I don't care if you have to. I don't want to say that, but that 24-hour rule bothers me. And I would been in line and said it's been 24 hours, which
Yeah.
would probably ain't a good thing. But I need you to go out there and find her. But then at the same time, it's like, damn, do it even? Does excuse my language? Does it even matter? Because they just take the report and just put it in the file drawer. Like that, they don't actually go out and look. So you got to be boots on the ground yourself. Get out there yourself. Get your loved ones, your friend. Call me. I get out there with you. Make your flyers. Go back to the area she was at. Contact friends, because certain best these kids, I know they tell their best friends things that they not gonna tell their parents. And the black woman is the most unprotected woman in the world, the black woman. So we
Right.
got to look out for each other.
And you emphasize, just for those who need to understand, that a lot of Stacy's work over the course of the last 10 years has been in urban communities of plight, and she's had to deal with this in those communities. And
I
again,
never get outside of an urban community,
yeah,
never.
we're not seeing this in Barrington, and we're not seeing these issues happen in some of these, Northbrook, or we're seeing it South Side, West Side, Gary,
Mhm.
Indiana. You
Yep.
know, those are the areas where we see the blight. We see these things
Low
happen.
income communities.
Yeah, Roseland, the predators can get away with it.
Mhm.
One thing is, just for anyone who wants to get engaged, I just want you to tell people. And my last question to you is, how did you get started in the work that you're doing, and what made you interested in helping out the communities that community activists for missing?
Um, the first case that piqued my interest was Shantea Smith. And you just had pulled up a news clip on her.
Yeah.
Shantae Smith, she was found on the west side of Chicago in an alley on Central Park and 18th, and she had left with a guy named George Booker.
Hmm.
And her and her family was very close knit. So when she didn't come back home, her mother was concerned, started looking for her and things. Long story short, they found her body in an alley, and she was a young girl, and they found her dead inside of a garage in the alley. She was a young girl in her 20s, I believe, early 20s.
Hmm.
And they found her dead in the alley. The police did not mark it as foul play or anything. They just said natural causes. That's what they said. Natural causes. And they knew for a fact that they had left with the young man. And come to find out, that young man had other girls missing as well that he was last seen with. A couple of other girls in the community that he was last seen with. One of them was a minor. I remember her face. I can't quite remember her name right now. I gotta go back because there's so many missing girls. But he was last seen with her, and she was found dead as well. Um, he basically got away with whatever he did in Illinois, and he took his operation to Memphis,
Hmm.
where he met another woman. He was involved with her. He ended up beating her really, really bad, and he was trying to kill her, but she ended up getting away. So he ended up getting locked up in Memphis.
Hmm.
I don't know if he's still in Memphis to this day, but that was by the time he got locked up. That was in 2019. But his name is George Booker. I'm gonna say it. So if you guys want to look up, do some research or whatnot to see if he's out now. But he basically got away with it, and he has admitted that he was the last person seen with Shantea. That he did walk off with her,
Yeah.
and they were supposedly walking off to smoke some weed or whatnot. And the other guy, he's really creepy, young black guy,
Hmm.
really creepy. I do believe he did that to her, and he did it to the other girls as well.
Okay.
I think he has a problem with rejection. Um,
Yeah.
but basically, he got away with what he did to Shantae Smith. Her mother is still really messed up about it. She left a daughter. Her daughter was maybe like 6 or 7 when this had happened.
Hmm.
Um, the mother moved all the way out of Chicago, and I don't blame her.
Yeah.
And
Can I,
just
can I,
that.
I want to stop you right there, Stacy. I just want to say a couple of things for activists, because we have activists, Stacy, and everyone in the chat, and for anyone who's going to watch the stream. You know, if you want to get engaged in community activism, this is an excellent way to get started. And the reason why is because, we need people who are insistent upon, spreading the word. And, with lack of media coverage, regardless of race, I mean, the missing issue is very prevalent in American culture and the climate of our communities. A lot of these cases become cold cases because people just frankly don't give a damn. So, if you want to be an activist, get involved in helping these missing issues, and especially in Chicago and some of the Riverdale, Harvey, some of the areas where, they're challenged areas. This is where these predators, and this is where a lot of these things are happening. So, and we don't get the TV, we don't get the breaking news. African American missing in women and children's families need fair treatment, just like some of the other families or urban community families need the same coverage as folks in the more affluent areas, but we don't see that. So finally, we're also encouraging the folks who are in the leadership, political leadership. We need federal funding, y'all. We need federal funding to be allocated to the agencies and to the groups and organizations for the purpose of researching and locating these
Yeah.
missing women and missing people of color. And I mean, I would suggest that that's our call to action. If y'all want
Mhm.
to help, that's where y'all help. Y'all
Mhm.
don't. So the thing is that our work, Stacy, has to go on. If somebody wants to support you and somebody wants to find out or get together and work with you, and I'll share the Chicago Girls Missing in the chat, but how do they reach you? Do you have an email address? Do you have a contact? How do they get engaged?
My group right now is on Facebook, Chicago Girls Missing and Current Events, and girls is with a Z instead of a S at the end.
Mhm,
You could basically message me on Facebook.
mhm.
I respond very quickly. I'm in the process of making Chicago Girls Missing a nonprofit so that they can take me more seriously, and so that we can get funding for certain things that I want to do in the community. And unfortunately, it takes money. I've never collected any money from nobody, even when I do the flyers and print all those flyers and go out and things like. I've never collected any money from nobody, but
Yeah.
now it's time. It's gonna take some money. It's gonna take some federal funding, even for this Ebony Alert thing. I want to push for the state of Illinois. That stuff takes funding. It has to go to the highway patrol, and they have to that treat is gonna be just like the Amber Alert. So billboards and stuff, like all that stuff takes money. So yeah, most definitely gonna need donations and things of that nature.
Mhm.
Um, in a very soon future. And I am looking for a board for Chicago Girls Missing. So if it's anybody that wants to get involved, I most definitely would like you to reach out for me, because I most definitely need at least 5 people on my board
Hey,
um,
look,
to
look.
make this a nonprofit.
I'm reaching out,
Tom,
saying,
you know I got you. You know I got you.
listen,
Some boots on the ground. I
mhm.
I know how hard it is being new out here when you are activist or whatnot, and I'm most definitely willing to give someone a chance. You know.
So y'all, listen, y'all are hearing it here from somebody who just gives a damn and cares. And Stacy did talk a little bit about her story, but what I'm going to do, Stacy, is I'm going to share some more, and you're going to come back and you're going to talk. Beth wants to know how can we help, and like we'll share your information, and we'll share your information. Beth says your not for profit will open up many doors for sure. Thank you. It's crazy. And thank you, Beth. And you know what? Hey, we need y'all. We need y'all no matter where y'all at. I mean, you can help in whatever urban community. You guys can make a difference. Stacy is just somebody who gave a damn. She cared, and she's literally made a difference. And I mean, we made a difference I was privileged to work with her, so we're gonna continue that work, Stacy. And you got to make me an admin in my new in Amir Shakur speaks in your groups.
Right,
Okay,
sure. You a whole
don't
new
forget
man
that.
now.
All right, don't forget that. But listen, if y'all want to join Stacy and get the alerts. Amir Shakur speaks, and listen, you got to come on back. We got some more people. Rico Hollifield. I don't know if you remember Rico. His auntie was murdered and found in a dumpster, and he's still with us a few times back, and he was really on the ground with us a few times. Yeah,
Yeah, I
Rico
remember
Hollifield,
him.
and Minister Pusey will definitely be interested. So let's get this coalition back up again. I know COVID kind of took us into a whole totally different zone, but it's the work is warranted, and it's not enough workers to do it. So we appreciate you. We appreciate your advocacy, and let's get this going because you know why? Because these preps are not stopping. These predators are not stopping, and and they're happy when we decline, but the world is safer when we are engaged, right, Stacy?
And I want to thank everyone in my group who has stuck with me. We have, I believe, over 4,000 people in my group now. Um, Everyone in my group that share my flyers, all my members. I want to thank y'all because without y'all, I couldn't do it. And Beth, you asked what my story was. I used to be a missing girl, and a lot of bad things happened to me out there. But that's a whole nother show. So that's another reason why I'm so passionate about it.
Take these last
Um,
few comments too, and you know what? We definitely will share your story, and we'll do some further interviews, follow up interviews. I'm looking forward to rewatch. I just as I jumped in and just got back. Thanks, crazy. Awesome. Beth says awesome, awesome, awesome. And then crazy said, look what he said.
Thank you. I love my finger waves.
Hey, thank y'all for joining us. And again, if you have any questions, we'll put in the chat and in the description of the YouTube stream, we'll put Staci Love is her name. She is an advocate, community advocate for Chicago Girls Missing, and you can find it on Facebook. And yeah, we got some work to do, Stace. All right.
Yep, I'm excited. I'm glad you back up here. I hated it when you was gone.
Yeah.
We got a lot of work to do, a lot of nationwide work to do, because this is a American problem. This is not just a Chicago problem. This is a problem for America. Period. So we
Exactly.
all need boots on the ground.
Kobe
Don't
is
tell me it's
concerned about Harvey, of course. One last one. Hugs, Beth. And yeah, Kobe is one of the trustees in Harvey. So yeah, we'll definitely get together. And guys, let's just keep the information going. Let's just keep boots on the ground. And just basically what you can do is start looking at Amber Alerts. Start looking at, really deciphering this information because you never know. You might be in a gas station and you might see someone who's being held hostage, or you might be in a park and you might see someone who's missing, or I just this is how these cases are broken down. So one more and then we'll go crazy. My friend in Florida has a not-for-profit for tracking. Hey, if you can put that information, or if you
Mhm.
send that information, Amir Shakur speaks, and I'll share it with. Or you can go to Chicago Girls Missing and drop it in the chat and become a part of that network because Stacy has a great network, and I was a moderator, but I'm a new moderator again back in there. So we got a lot of work to do. So listen, y'all, thank y'all for watching, and hey, let's do what we do. So, Stace, let's get it going.
Yes, let's get it going. And just one more thing, I really want to push this Ebony Alert thing. So if there's anyone in here from my group or that shares anything from my group, I would like you guys to put hashtag Ebony Alert. Start doing that. Start putting hashtag Ebony Alert in your post when you share things about missing girls or missing people. Period. Put missing Black people. Period. Put hashtag Ebony Alert. I really want to get this out here.
All right, y'all. Well, y'all heard it here. Stacy Love, thanks for being my guest for the last hour and a half. And Stacy, Chicago Girls Missing. Girls are spelled with a G. Let's get that support going, y'all.
Instead of
Yeah.
yes.
Peace, y'all. Thank y'all.
All right.
Thanks, Stacy.
Bye bye.